Welcome, this is Carrie Schell from On Point Quilter. If you missed the tutorial last week, you are going to want to go back and watch it, because in that tutorial we draft the center of this quilt. In this tutorial we are going to add 3 different types of borders and create the border blocks from the blocks we did during the first lesson. On the home screen I will select Open an Existing Project, and I will select my Dresden Quilt index from the Minnesota Quilt Study Group project and select OK. And on the Quilts tab, I'm going to select the quilt that we did during the last session and select Edit. And then I'm going to view my project sketchbook, go to the blocks, and I will take the last block that was designed and select Edit. During the last blog post, we created the center of this particular quilt. Now we're ready to add the 3 sets of borders. Here is the block we will need for border number 1. For border number 3, we're actually going to need 2 blocks, 1 pieced and 1 plain. Now we are ready to start making modifications for the block we designed during the last blog post. With the pick tool, I'm going to drag a box over one of the corners, which will select everything in that corner, and I'm going to select Delete. Then I'm going to go to the Precision toolbar and I'm going to make some adjustments. I'm going to change the block width and height so that it is 12 wide and 6 high. For my snaps, I'm going to set those at 24 by 12, so that would be every ½ inch. And for the snapping option, I'm going to have snap to grid only. Then I will use the pick tool, or I could use the Control or Command plus the A key to select all the remaining arcs and lines. And under Advanced Symmetry, I'm going to select Resize. And for resize, I want to just change the vertical measurement so that it is 200%. So it's 100% horizontal and 200% vertical. Then I need to move the segment so that the nodes on the top and left match at 2, 4, and 5 inches. And I will zoom in to validate that it did snap. If it doesn't snap, go ahead and zoom back out and move the segments. Then zoom back in and check one of the nodes on the top and on the left side to make sure they are matching the edge of the block. So now I can do a Fit to Work table, and I can go to the Color tab and I can make any necessary color adjustments. And I can add this to the project sketchbook. Now I'm going to go back to the Draw tab, and with the line tool I'm going to draw a line at 6 inches. Now with the pick tool I'm going to select everything on the left side of the block, and I'm going to move it so it matches up with that center line. And again, I can zoom in on one of the nodes to make sure everything is matching. If not, I will want to zoom back out, and while everything is still selected, move and take another look at that. So now I'm going to do a clone, and I'm going to put the mirror image on the left side of the block. And again, I want to make sure my nodes are matching. And I'm going to zoom in to double check that. And now I'm going to go to the Color tab, back to the Draw tab, and with the Pick tool I'm going to delete a few of those lines in the center. I want to keep the ones between the blades still there, but I want to delete the rest. And now I will go to the Color tab and recolor the block. And I can add this to the project sketchbook. Now I will go to the quilt work table, and I realized that I didn't have the rotations quite right. So under the block tools I'm going to use the Control key, or the Command if you're on a Mac, and I'm going to select one of the blocks and just do 1 click to alter the rotation. And then I'm going to Add Borders. So I will select the Border tab. For the first border, I'll do an Add, and I'm going to select the type Blocks. And with the lock size adjustment set to all, I'm going to click on one of the sizes and type in 6. Notice that it changes them all. And then I'm going to scroll down and change the number of blocks to 4 horizontal and 6 vertical. Then I'm going to add a second border. This is going to be a long horizontal. I'm going to click on one of the size items and type in 2. And I will add the third border, and I'm going to click on one of the sizes and type in 6. Under the border style, I'm going to select the style Blocks Aligned Inside, and I'm going to change the number of blocks to 5 horizontal and 7 vertical. This is going to allow even my last border blocks to line up with the blocks in the inner border and in the inside of the quilt. So now in the Design tab, I'm going to select Set Block, and I'm going to take the first block we designed during this session, and with the Control or Command key, I'm going to select that first border. And then I'm going to take the second block, and with the Control or Command key, I will select the outer border. Now, we're going to need to do a combination of rotate and flips. Because these blocks are not square, we can't just rotate to get them into position. So I will select Rotate, and for the first block, I can do 2 clicks, and it matches perfectly. With the second block, if I do 3 rotates, I end up with a weird shape. So let me do a couple undos, and now let me flip first, and then do 2 rotates, and it will now match. So I will just do that combination of flip and rotates for everything in the first border. Now the outside ones are a little bit easier because we can use the Alt key and we can do one set of borders at each at one time. So this is an Alt with 2 rotates. This one I'm going to rotate once and flip once, again with the Alt key on. This is unchanged. This one I'm going to flip and then rotate once. And then with the fabric tools, I can use my eyedropper, and I can color some of the other patches. And then I will hide show quilt patch lines, and if I like what I see, I will add it to the project sketchbook. Thanks so much for watching. For additional tips and techniques, please subscribe to my weekly newsletter at www.onpointquilter.com. And while you're there, check out my newest book, EQ8 Drawing Blocks.